Today we're going to learn how to identify direct objects and indirect objects. In order to find a direct object and an indirect object in a sentence, we must first know the subject and the verb. To find the subject of a sentence, we must ask who or what is doing the action in this sentence. Let's consider the sentence, Landon threw me the frisbee last Thursday. Who or what is doing the action? Landon is doing the action, so Landon is the subject of the sentence. Next, we need to find the verb. To find the verb, we ask, what is the subject doing? And since we know the subject is Landon, we can ask ourselves, in this sentence, what is Landon doing? In this sentence, it says, Landon threw me the frisbee last Thursday. So in this sentence, what is Landon doing? Landon is throwing. So the word threw is the verb of this sentence. Next, we need to find the direct object. In order to find the direct object, we ask ourselves, what is the subject verbing? I know that sounds weird, but once we plug in the subject and the verb that we've already figured out, it'll make more sense. We need to ask ourselves, what is the subject, Landon, verbing or throwing? What is Landon throwing? In this sentence, Landon threw me the frisbee last Thursday. What is Landon throwing? Landon is throwing the frisbee. Therefore, frisbee is our direct object. In order to find the indirect object, we need to ask who or what is receiving the direct object. If you'll remember, the direct object, we said, was frisbee. So if we look at the sentence, Landon threw me the frisbee last Thursday, and frisbee is our direct object, we ask who or what is receiving the frisbee. And the word me in this sentence, Landon threw me the frisbee last Thursday, me is the word that is receiving the frisbee. So me is our indirect object. Now there is a special case for indirect object in English. In English, the indirect object will always be between the verb and the direct object. If a word answers the question who or what is receiving the direct object, but it is not located between the verb and the direct object, then that word cannot be the indirect object. Instead, you'll find that it is connected to the sentence by the preposition to or the preposition for. Let's take that same sentence we've been using and change it around just a little bit. Landon threw the frisbee to me last Thursday. We've taken the word me and we've moved it out from in between through and frisbee, and we've moved it past the direct object, and notice that we had to connect it to the sentence with the preposition to. It still answers the question, who is receiving the frisbee, but it does not come in the location between the verb and the direct object. So therefore, me, even though it answers the question, is not in the correct position to be an indirect object. Similarly, we can have other words later in the sentence beyond the direct object, and they can add detail to the sentence, but they don't fill an essential sentence slot. So the phrase last Thursday tells us when Landon threw the frisbee, but it also does not function as an indirect object. At this point, you should be ready to walk through the questions and answer some questions on your own about direct objects and indirect objects.